Ever get that feeling that, well, biology and our digital world are getting closer, like really intertwined? It
Mm,
seems to be happening fast. It's more than just, using computers for biology.
right.
People are talking about biodigital convergence. Have you come across that term? It feels like a pretty big deal,
It definitely is. And today we're going to dig into one really key part of it,
which is,
biobanking. You might have heard the term maybe around medical research, personalized medicine.
yeah, I think so.
Okay, so our main source for this deep dive is an editorial, Biobanking, a cornerstone of biodigital convergence. It's by Geiger and a few others from last year.
A cornerstone. Okay, so biobanking. That's basically collecting and managing biological samples, right?
Yeah,
Blood, tissues, DNA, and the data that goes with them.
exactly. It's the organized collection, storage, and crucially, the management of those resources and all the associated data.
But why a cornerstone of this whole biodigital thing? That sounds pretty fundamental. What makes it so vital?
Well, that's what we want to unpack today.
Okay, so the plan is explore that connection, look at the benefits, what this actually enables, and then maybe the tricky parts, the challenges we need to figure out.
Precisely. We'll start by making sure we're clear on what biodigital convergence really is. Then we'll see exactly where biobanking fits.
Makes sense.
Then, yeah, the exciting stuff, the applications in medicine, maybe agriculture too.
Yeah.
And finally, we absolutely need to talk about the challenges. Standardization is a big theme there.
All right, let's do it. Biodigital convergence. You said it's more than just computers and labs. What's the core idea?
Yeah, the core idea is this deepening integration, this merging almost of biology and digital technology.
Merging.
Well, think about advancements in biotech, IT, even cognitive science. They're all pushing towards blurring the lines. Digital systems influencing biological ones, biological systems feeding directly into digital analysis. It's less like two separate fields borrowing tools, more like they're becoming intrinsically linked.
So not just analyzing biological data, but a more like active feedback loop.
Exactly. And biobanks, they are just fundamental to making this work. They act as a crucial bridge, really.
A bridge between the physical biology and the digital data.
Perfect way to put it. They provide the actual physical stuff, the
Yeah.
samples, and also the incredibly rich data about those samples. Molecular data, health info, environmental factors. It all gets linked.
And the sheer amount of data must be a key factor. The editorial mentioned big data.
Oh, absolutely. Modern biobanks, especially with genomics and proteomics, we're talking massive data sets.
Genomics being the DNA, proteomics, the proteins.
Right, you get this unprecedented detail from every sample.
Yeah.
And that big data is what fuels this sophisticated digital analysis. We can find patterns, connections that were just impossible to see before.
And that connects directly to things like precision medicine.
Directly. Precision medicine relies entirely on analyzing these huge data sets to understand individual biological variations and tailored treatments. Biobanks provide the foundation for that.
Got it. So biobanks supply the raw materials, samples, and data that power the digital side, driving personalized healthcare and probably other things too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. What are some of the concrete benefits? What applications are actually coming out of this convergence thanks to biobanking?
Well, the impact is pretty broad already. First is just accelerating research. Massively.
How so?
By giving researchers access to these large, well-documented collections, samples, and data, they can investigate fundamental life processes much faster and more effectively. It speeds everything up.
Okay, faster research. But for us, day to day, healthcare seems like the obvious one.
Definitely. In healthcare, we're seeing improvements in predicting disease risks, diagnosing things earlier and more accurately, and finding better treatment.
Better treatments, how?
By analyzing biobank data, we understand diseases at a molecular level. That reveals new targets for drugs, new ways to intervene. It also helps make drug discovery itself more efficient, identifying promising candidates faster.
Right, finding the right target for a drug. And what about those health trackers everyone wears now? Are they part of this?
They are, yeah. Those little sensors, wearables, that's another angle of biodigital convergence. They collect real-time physiological data.
Like heart rate, sleep patterns.
Exactly. And that data can potentially be linked back to deeper biological information from biobanks, creating a much richer picture of an individual's health. It allows for more proactive, personalized health management.
Interesting. But the editorial suggested it's not just about human health.
No, not at all.
Huh.
The implications go way beyond medicine. Agriculture is a huge one.
Agriculture? How?
Think about plant biobanks. Researchers use the genetic data from those samples to develop crops that are, say, more resistant to drought or disease, or crops with better nutritional value.
Wow. Okay. Like designing a better tomato or rice strain?
Essentially, yes.
Hmm.
Imagine developing wheat that needs less water that's hugely important with climate change. Biobanking provides the genetic resources and data to make that possible.
That is big. Any other areas? Industry, maybe.
Yeah, industrial biotechnology, too. Biobanks hold diverse microorganisms, enzymes, things that can be harnessed for greener, more efficient industrial processes.
Like making biofuels or biodegradable
And
plastics.
exactly those kinds of things. Using biology, informed by digital analysis of biobank resources to create more sustainable solutions.
Okay, so the potential seems enormous. Personalized medicine, better crops, greener industry. But if things are moving this fast, there must be roadblocks. The editorial really hammers on the need for standardization. Why is that so crucial?
It's absolutely critical. Without good standards, realizing the full potential is, well, it's going to be very difficult.
Why? What breaks down without standards?
You risk ending up with data that can't be compared, research findings that can't be combined effectively, applications that aren't reliable. It slows everything down and undermines trust. The editorial flags 5 key areas needing urgent attention.
5 areas. Okay, let's break them down. First, terminology and understanding. Seems basic, but why is common language a challenge?
Because this field brings together so many different experts, biologists, doctors, computer scientists, engineers, they all need to talk to each other.
Ah, so they might use the same word differently.
Precisely. Or just have different assumptions. Without agreed upon terms and definitions, communication breaks down, collaboration suffers, and misunderstandings can really derail projects. It's foundational.
Right, makes sense. Okay, second area, biological material handling. This is about the physical samples themselves.
Yes. Everything from how samples are collected, how they're processed, stored, and even how the initial data is extracted. Right now, there isn't one universally accepted way to do all of this.
And that variation matters.
Hugely. Slight differences in how you handle a blood sample, for instance, can affect the results you get from analyzing it. That makes it really hard to compare data from different biobanks or studies reliably. It impacts the quality of everything downstream.
Okay, inconsistent handling is a problem. Third area, digital interface connectivity. Sounds like getting the computers to talk to each other.
That's the gist of it, yeah. How do you seamlessly link the physical sample information with all the different software, databases, and analytical platforms?
What kind of problems pop up?
Things like incompatible data formats, different protocols for sharing data, systems that just weren't designed to work together. If the digital plumbing isn't connected properly, you can't leverage the full power of the data.
Got it. Fourth point, data quality and annotation. We talked about big data, but quality over quantity, right?
Absolutely essential.
Mm.
If the data linked to the samples is wrong, inconsistent, or just missing information.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. The analyses, the models, the predictions, they're only as good as the data they're based on. And annotation is key here.
Annotation meaning?
Providing detailed, standardized descriptions about the sample,
Mm-hmm.
where it came from, how it's collected, processed, any known characteristics. Without good annotation, the data loses context and value.
Okay, data quality is paramount. And the fifth area, analytical and processing pipelines. This is about the analysis methods themselves.
Precisely. The algorithms, the machine learning techniques, the deep learning models used to crunch all this data. We need standardized ways to apply these tools so that results are reproducible.
Reproducible, meaning different teams get the same result from the same data.
Yes, and also reliable, meaning we can trust the insights generated. Without standardizing the analysis pipelines, it's hard to validate findings or compare results across different studies. Confidence drops.
That's a complex list of needs. The editorial mentioned groups like the IEC's SEG-12 working on this, International Electrotechnical Commission.
Yes, and efforts like that are incredibly important. They bring together stakeholders, researchers, industry, regulators to actually sit down and hammer out these standards.
So it needs broad buy-in.
Definitely. The IEC's SEG-12 is focused specifically on biodigital convergence standardization. Getting input from everyone involved is crucial to make sure the standards are practical and actually get adopted. It's a collaborative effort.
So tackling these standards isn't just some technical detail, it's fundamental to the whole enterprise.
It really is. It's about building a trustworthy foundation, ensuring the quality, reliability, and safety of all these powerful new applications.
And biobanks remain central to it all.
They do. They are that essential link that Cornerstone, the editorial, talks about, connecting the biological world with the digital potential. And it really underscores how interdisciplinary this all is. Biology, medicine, computing, engineering, ethics, all have to work together.
Okay, so wrapping up, Biobanking, this organized collection and management of biological samples and data, it truly seems to be a cornerstone for biodigital convergence.
Hmm.
It's enabling some amazing things, personalized medicine, better agriculture, new industrial processes, but, and it's a big but, we desperately need standardization
Yeah.
across the board. Terminology, sample handling, digital connections, data quality, how we analyze it all. Getting that right is key to unlocking the full potential.
That sums it up well. And for you listening, it's worth realizing this isn't science fiction. These changes are happening now. They could impact your health care, the food you eat, and just our basic understanding of life itself.
It definitely leaves you with a lot to think about. And considering how our biological selves are becoming increasingly datafied and linked to the digital world, what ethical questions or societal discussions do you think we need to prioritize as we move forward? Something to ponder.